think I showed you guys my bale of shame that rolled through the fence and crashed into the trees. That was from first cutting. Second cutting, I had two bales I just completely forgot to pick up. There's my pile of bales right over there. And I don't know, for some reason, this one was just a little bit, there was one here and one right up, right there. So I don't know what the heck is the matter with me, but I'll tell you what, while we're here, let me show you this is my alfalfa that I planted this spring, and you see I did mow some of it off. There was some, I made, a couple passes here. And, but what's coming on this hill, this is all damn sandburs. All this grass here, that's all sandburs coming. Yeah. That's gonna suck. There's a lot of it in here. And you see how thin the oats is. The oats is thin. I think a lot of it sprouted and died. Didn't have any moisture to keep going. And the rye, I got rye in it too. Almost 50-50. But this was some that we cut for silage last year. Like the corn, cut the corn off, and then I here's a cocklebur. I haven't seen a cocklebur in years. That's an obsolete weed around here. I wonder how old that seed was. But yeah, I had rye cover crop in here. I should have just let the rye go. And I thought I should plant a little alfalfa this year. Just thought we'd need some feed, which looks like we're going to. And instead of getting my sprayer out and killing the rye to plant oats, I just used the tillage and got about half of it. And well, that's fine because you see I got half a stand of oats. But I was thinking on actually combining this crap and just using it for cover crop seed. That'd work out good. But there's quite a few green oats in here yet, so in order to, I just wanted to combine it standing. In order to do that, this stuff's got to be dead ass ripe, and these are still in the dough. Even some milk, and oh, damn deer flies biting me. That one's pretty well dough, but the rye is probably ready. But the oats. Anyway, I got some alfalfa in here. I thought it was completely killed. Here's another cocklebur. Another obsolete weed. And there's some, I think these are turnips. You put turnips in your drill, you don't get every seed out. And man, do you just get them scattered out everywhere. I think these are purple top turnips. And they call them that because if you look at the top, they're purple. And I'm getting some lamb's quarters in here in kochia. This is what they used to put up for hay in the 30s. Poor man's alfalfa or drought alfalfa. That's what they stacked kochia because that's the only thing that would grow. The alfalfa's a little thin, so I may try to interseed some this fall yet. I got a bunch of leftover seed. This end not so bad. The further you go that way, the worse it is. I think the wind was a little harsher on it. But here's some of the beans. They're not terrible, but I want to show you all the flowers that are in them. Look at all of these flowers. They're just loaded. Come on. They're just loaded with flowers. They're not very tall. So, I mean, there's still potential on the beans. The corn is going to start running out of gas here pretty quick. That over there is kind of some heavy ground, so that doesn't look so bad. But it's not tasseled yet. Like my corn up there on the alfalfa, that was alfalfa last year. way up there by them trees is corn. That's about 6 foot tall. That's all the taller it got. It's still got to shoot a tassel. I mean, there's still time for that. I mean, we could catch a ring, but it just doesn't sound like there's any chance. So I guess it's just been one failure after another this year. Oats is, I'd call this a failure, but I mean, if there's 20 bushel oats out here, that'll make enough cover crop seed for me. That's 120 bushels of oats. I don't know how the heck you'd ever get the rye out, so we're just gonna plant a blend. It'll just be my cover crop seed. I don't know if you can, I don't know that you can feed rye without, don't you have to worry about like ergot with rye? So I don't think that I would be too quick to throw it in my creep feed, because that's what we used to do, grind oats and ear corn. But third crop looks good. I'm surprised how well third crop looks. If it doesn't get too damn hot, you know, upper 90s, we might get a third. But if it gets hot and windy, that stuff gives up and just starts shooting flowers then, and then it's done. Hey, look what we just retrieved. Oh, come on, don't fall off. There. Now, hopefully we don't have to do that again. Okay, there you go. There's my striped cornfield. That's just two varieties. That's why it's like that. Now, when I planted that, I went across the field once, and then I dumped all the seed out, put a different kind in, and then came all the way back, you know, planted this way, and then I dumped all the seed out and switched back to the first kind, and then I made another pass across the field and switched seed, and then I just did that all the way across the field. So we got 8 rows and 8 rows that way. Now, if you believe that, if you buy that, I got some other stuff to sell you too. So, all right, later. Here's another bean field, and you see the flowers. They are just loaded with flowers. They're not very tall, but they got a lot of flowers on. So, I don't know, I guess that's good. They're compensating for being so short, maybe. I don't know. They have faith it's gonna rain with all them flowers. But yeah, this field here, I made a mistake. Every 8 rows I got a blank. Blank. Well, you can see down there how far it goes. Basically all these long rows. You get down here and I got it. What happened was I didn't have this row turned on. That's a 9-row planter, and of course I only have a monitor on 8 rows. In that dead center row, I didn't have the clutch flipped, so it wasn't planning. So I did this whole thing with a gap, which I thought would be okay. I'd see. I did get a place to drive with the sprayer though, because I was able to straddle 8 rows with the sprayer. But yeah, that's kind of I didn't put any corn killer in here either, so there's going to be a little bit of corn out here. Not a lot, which I'm surprised there's not more. Looking around at other guys' cornfields, they're loaded with beans. Or you know what I mean. There's a lot of corn in their beans, but here's a couple. That's just a single kernel there. But they got, I mean, it's just so bad, it's bad. So these are about knee high now. And this is what I worked up. This is another one that I worked up good. I think I did a video on it with the 43 and that finisher out here, working this up. And around the edge I didn't, that was rye, and you can just see it just drops off. As soon as it hits where the rye was, shoop, 2 inches shorter. Maybe you can't see it, but it's just right here. And then that down there, I had the rate wrong on the sprayer when I started, so you can see I really smoked it right at the beginning. Anyway, this is where the rye was in these end rows, and they're just not as, they're a little always slower. No till is always, no till beans in me just do not, I like to do it, but God, the beans are always behind, always yields less too. So, all right, we'll go find something else to look at. Here's another field of beans that look pretty bad. This is a result of Milestone carryover. Milestone is used on pastures a lot. You see I got some water in it that didn't die. Didn't kill the Milestone, didn't work on that, but it did a number on the beans. This pasture over here was sprayed last fall with a helicopter with wind blowing everything this direction. And you can see what happens when Milestone gets over here. They were using Grazon Next, which is 240 in Milestone, so 240 wouldn't be an issue, but the Milestone sure does carry over. And so during the process, this is not my pasture, by the way. Like I said, the wind was blowing it all this way. But during that, they caught this power line down here with their chopper and landed into some of my pasture. Nobody was hurt, just a little damage to the helicopter that was unflyable. He could only turn left, I think. He couldn't turn right anymore. But anyway, up there on that hill it gets worse. You get the idea. Anyway, I told him, you guys shouldn't be spraying today with the wind. It was like 14 miles an hour. And when you're, 12 feet off the ground with a helicopter, what the heck do you think is going to happen? So I told him you shouldn't be spraying today, to which they replied, well, there's a lot of trash out there. It'll be fine. I said, this is going to be beans. There's a lot of trash out there. So, for future reference, you guys can spray Milestone on your cornfield stalks as long as you got a lot of trash. We can walk up here a little bit. I'll show you the whole thing, I guess. Here we got all the puckered up leaves. Oh shit, that's 1, 2, 3. We could count rows. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, there's about 40 rows. About 40 rows in it goes. Maybe more than that. You get over here, it's a little farther. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, about 50 rows. 50, 48, 49, 50. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 60 rows. That's 30 wides. 30 wide rows. That'd be 90 foot. If you get 60 rows. So yeah. Well, there's a lot of trash out there. You don't need to worry. Whatever. So I called him to come take a look at it. I says, you screwed up. you know, try to file a complaint on them. Yeah, we'll be here Wednesday. Wednesday came and went. Then the next Wednesday was the week of the 4th. That came and went. And now whatever Wednesday this was came and went. So I think I'll just send them a bill. And whatever. I got the whole, I've been doing this for 20 years and it's never been a problem. Really? Because then when I called, the nice lady I talked to says, oh, okay, yeah, you got a complaint. We got some to look at on such and such a date. We'll be up there. And usually when we have these issues, we just like to settle them ourselves. We don't want to get insurance involved. Of course not. So I think I'll just write up a bill and, excuse my French, send it to them.